Hey, how's everyone doing? My name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Monday afternoon live. We always get together. I'm looking down at my screen because I gotta start my broadcast here to get my screen on the screen there. We always come together on Monday afternoons at 2 p.m. to get together and draw a landscape. If you are interested in looking for a community of people, I would recommend that you join our Facebook group. What we do Monday morning is I will post in the Facebook group 3 different pictures, and the group gets to vote on which picture they want to draw. So if you are looking for community, or if you want to get involved in that, there's a link down in the description that I would jump on board and join us, because the group is growing and you will get a lot of support there. So today we are, this being Monday, we're going to be looking at this landscape. And one of the things that you can do in your landscapes, or really in any of your drawings, is to use this little trick to create more drama. And that little trick is scale. So let me show you on a blank page here what I mean by that. So let's say you have a picture here, and you're going to draw, let's just say you're going to draw a bedroom, okay, like a kid's bedroom or something like that. So in the background here, and you might have like a bed, all right? That's pretty obvious, right? There might be a pillow here, right? Over here you might have a dresser. It might be a little dresser here, right? Well, to create a lot of drama in this picture, you could create scale. So what do I mean by that? Well, right here in the foreground, you might put like a big silhouette of a bear, of a toy bear. And maybe over here, you might, maybe there's a top. A top. No, maybe there's a soccer ball. We'll do that. Maybe there's a soccer ball down here in the bottom right corner. Well, you've just created drama. You created a change in scale, and that creates interest in your picture. So today's picture, what we're going to draw here, is definitely has a lot of scale to it, because what we're doing is we're looking at these daisies that are very close to us. And then in the background are these huge, they're huge hills or cliffs right along the sea. And that creates a lot of interest. So just remember that little tidbit, that when you're drawing, just ask yourself, where is the drama here? Is there an object that I can make really large that's in the foreground versus something that's in the background, and make that a little bit smaller? All right. So that's number one. I want you to think about that. The other thing I want to talk about is, let's talk about just this idea of grasses, or creating a very natural texture. So on your page, what I want you to do is just come in here and just make a bunch of little lines just like this. And let's pretend like this is some type of bush. All right, we're going to do that just like this. Hey, John, what is up, my friend? Happy Monday. Yes, sir. Okay, so there's some, this is the beginnings of a bush. Okay, so that's the texture. Let's do that again right over here on the right-hand side. Just do that almost the same, and I want to show you something here. Just get those in there. Okay, so both of these objects are very flat looking. They don't have too much dimension to them, all right? So I'm just gonna write flat over here on this one. So a lot of times when we're drawing anything natural, we want to create depth. And when we create depth, that causes more interest. So over here, what I want you to do is I want you to think of this idea. Here is a sphere, and if I add tone to the sphere, right? And I could even add a little bit of a coarse shadow there. When I come over here to my bushes, what I want to do is I want to think of the way that this is shaded. So over here, I might add some more right in the middle here. Let's kind of get this going. All right, and then let's do that again. Maybe have a little bit over here. Okay, so right away, just by adding those extra marks, we get this like give and take, this ebb and flow in the way that we're texturing. So when you are trying to draw a bush or a group of flowers or anything natural, I want you to be aware of trying to shade it from one side to the other, so you get some type of texture going. The other thing you could add, in addition to that, is come back in here and look for some silhouettes, or silhouettes in the way of negative space. See, that will also take it to another level of depth. All right, so what we're going to work on today is we're going to look at scale, and we're going to use value to create depth. All right, let's go ahead and bring our picture up now and get started. Now, one thing when I am drawing this picture, I want you to know that the size of my picture is only about 4 by 5 inches. So because I'm drawing on the board, it's quite small. I would recommend that you draw the same picture about the same size. If you try and draw your picture to be 8 by 10 or 5 by 7 might be okay, but I wouldn't go much bigger than that. This then you'll get a lot of nice detail, and I'll tell you, if it looks great, you could still frame a small little picture like this, but it will really help you to keep up. And then if you love it, you can always come back and take more time and draw it larger. So let's jump into this. So first thing I want to do is to create some type of border. This will give my picture a little bit of structure here. Now, when I'm drawing, I try and think of gesture, construction, and then detail. Detail could be value, all right? So let's go ahead and put in our horizon line, and it's going to be toward the top here. And one thing in this picture that I don't like is I don't like how the peak, you know what, let me do this real quick here. I don't like how the peak of this cliff is literally touching the skyline, the horizon line. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make that go a little bit higher. So there's my horizon line right there. Okay. And then let's just really lightly, and you can start thinking of this in terms of shape. Let me bring up another layer here, and I'm going to put a little bit of that right there so I don't have to keep using that drop down menu. What I want you to do is I want you to think of, look at that. Look at the negative shape there. You see that? So let's come in here and very lightly just almost recreate that shape right there. And then right next to it, you can see we have another shape like this. So let's do that one as well. And this doesn't have to be exact, just close. And remember, we're gonna eventually cause our mountain to go above that horizon line there. And then we have that shape on the far side there. Think about, sometimes it's easier to draw the negative shapes around an object versus the actual shapes. Okay, so there's that. Now look at this. Look at this shape right here. Boom. Look how that comes all the way across. All across the page. Let's put that in as well. So we're going to just draw that shape very lightly. Okay. Then the next shape I want to put in is this group of flower, the group of grass. It's kind of right about there. And I've got these rocks down below. You see that? And now look at this. Look at the space in between rocks. Look at this now. This is important that you notice this. It starts right there and it goes all the way that distance. So let's just, on our page, let's just put a small mark. And then I'm going to put another small mark right there. That's going to be a guide. And then look at this. Look right here. It narrows. It really narrows down to that size. So let's see. That's going to be maybe right about there. You see that? So let's just kind of come in here, just like this. And then it opens up again. Look at that. It opens up there and kind of goes straight up there. So that is a very quick overview where we've just broken our picture down into the key shapes, okay? All right, next thing what I want you to do is I want you to blur your eyes, and I want you to take a look at our picture here, and I want you to ask yourself, where are the brightest areas? Where's the brightest of it all? Well, it's definitely in this rock that's facing the light, and it's on this side of our picture. You see that? So let's come into our picture very lightly and just drop a tone. Keep this light here. Don't go too dark. Just drop a tone. And you see these two daisies that are here? You could just kind of leave those kind of blank. They don't have to be exactly lined up. When you're creating art or pictures or painting or whatever it is, you're dealing with always dealing with construction, how something has mass or volume, and then you're also dealing with value. Those are your key things to work with. Okay, I'm squinting my eyes again, and I can see that this very lightly it's a little bit darker up here in the sky, and then I can see that this mountain range, this cliffs, are a little bit darker of course, much darker value than the sea. But for right now, we're just going to add a little tone there to separate it. We'll come back in and add some more. And going through this little exercise here of adding tone before we start getting into our line is going to be really helpful when we start filling in detail. helps us to organize our values. Okay. Let's start off with this. Let's start off with the cliffs in the back, and we'll make our way down. Okay. So right away, I could see that the value of the ocean is darker than the sky above. So that's a pretty strong line there. So let's just come in here and make sure that we have a nice edge. Nice edge back there. All right, let's come into our cliffs. And by the way, if I go too fast, please, by all means, just ask me to slow down, all right? And what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with this cliff over here because we're going to deal with overlap just a little bit. So coming over here, I'm just going to come in here like this. Come in with a slight little shape there. Okay, right above that I could see the other cliff is coming down here. Look at that. Now this is interesting. Look at the value change right there. Look at the value change between those two cliffs, okay? So let's come in here and add a little more value to those cliffs behind. All right. And the strokes that I make like little, when I push down, I pull up with my pencil, and that kind of gives a nice tapered edge to my line. All right. I'm just going to kind of follow along here with the cliff line. And then where it comes in contact with the sea, this is going to be a very flat line like this. And now using surface lines, I'm just going to follow along the surface. Trying to create variation. You can see, I could see I'm using like some silhouette, some line. I'm leaving a little bit of the value there. All right, and this cliff that's in the light, I want to do the same thing, but I want to just make sure I'm using a little bit lighter line. All right, let's come out here and let's jump way out here to the point of this, and let's just come in here and draw this as a silhouette. You want to make sure these rocks are very flat on the ground because the water is, coming up to the edge of them, and then really spiky on top there. Look at that. We've got this other mountain behind this other hill here, right? And look at this. This is an interesting detail right in there. You see that? So let's come in here just a bit and then create another mountain in front of that. And that's just going to be like an overlap. All right. We've got our light that's coming in from this direction, right? So let's come over here to this mountain and add some extra tone. This hill, this cliff over here on the right hand side, and same thing for this guy in the distance. One of the things I like to do is when I'm drawing is I'm constantly asking myself, what's the value? What's the value next to this value? Is it darker? Is it lighter? And so I try and go very slowly and methodically through the piece I'm drawing and just saying, this empty space here, can I break up this empty space? So for example, look at this. Look how light this little, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see it. Look how light that cliff is there versus it's dark there and it's dark over there. You see that? Well, that's a great detail. So we want to bring that into our drawing here. So let's see here. So let's just kind of add a little tone on this side here. Then we're going to jump over here and add a little tone on this side here. All right. So that cliff ends up really facing the ocean there. You see that? All right. And all I'm doing now is adding just some surface lines to this hill in the background there. Just by breaking that up just a bit. Okay, look at these cliffs over here before we move on. The top part, the grass tends to be lighter than the bottom. So I'm just going to come in here and add some tone to the top of those hills right there. All right, let's add this cloud in here. Now this cloud is awesome. It's very flat on the bottom. It's very has some very round aspects to the top. Now, before you put that cloud in, just remember That cloud is way in the distance, way in the distance. So you want to make sure you really draw it lightly. You want to draw this lightly. And then I'm just going to add some tone to the bottom of it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of tone behind it. I'm going to tone the background just a little bit. This is going to help pop off the top of it. You're creating volume, you're creating contrast. Okay. I'm going to add just a little tone underneath as well. I don't like the pure white of the page back there. Okay. All right, let's keep moving down our picture. And by the way, if you haven't already, I do ask that you take a second and hit the like button. And that always helps the YouTube stuff. Plus, I appreciate it immensely. Okay, so let's come in here with our ocean here just a little bit, and we can see that there's some waves out here. So we could just kind of add some tone in between these little foam crashing waves here. Okay, let's go ahead and then and before we go any further, let's make sure that we leave some areas for these daisies. So the one daisy that really pops out is the one on the right hand side over here. So let's just very lightly just add a little something round so you know where it's going to go. And then of course this other one is also a nice one. And when it comes to daisies, I'm going to take away our picture just for a second so I can show you this. If you have a daisy facing up, you might want to draw it like this. And then let's say there's one that's facing us exactly, like pointing right at us. And maybe this one is almost like a side view. All right. So up here, you're going to want to position the center part a little bit toward the bottom. This one, it's going to position right at us. And then this one might be way over here off to the left-hand side. And then when you draw this, if you take your line all the way in, it's going to bring a lot of attention to it. Where instead, if you just get the edge just coming in slightly, you can let the imagination fill in the gap And a lot of times, especially something this small, that will add a lot of interest to it. Okay. All right, let's keep going. All right, so let's come in here then and let's start working on this grassy area over here. So like we did at the very beginning, I'm just going to add some texture, but I'm also going to leave this negative space for this one flower right there, you see? So I'm just going to come around here. Follow the shape of those grasses. Okay. Try to make it nice and even. And now I'm going to go back into it and get that nice volume. Okay, so here's my first daisy, and I'm just going to come around here and hit the edges. Okay. And the key on this is to make sure you put the center part toward the bottom. And then along the edges, I like to add some like just single dots. That's going to give the sense that there is texture or pebbles there, you see? Okay, let's put one here. And then it looks like there's another one that's back here. And now I'm kind of going around this and just going to put some circles. I'm just going to put some circles where some of these flowers are so I could just be aware of them when I start adding more and more textures. All right, let's continue with the greenery here. All right, so I'm looking at my picture. I'm just trying to envision where this greenery is. So again, I'm just going to come in here with these small strokes and just create coverage. I can see there's whiter leaves down here. This is my first pass, so I'm trying to just get it as even, like a very flat texture. Very flat texture there. All right, now I can come back in with a second pass. Now this time I'm going to squint my eyes and really try and get an idea where their darker darks are. All while still trying to stay away from the some of these flower shapes that I've already drawn. All right, I'm going to come in here and add some darker silhouettes now, deep in this. Look at that flower is coming out there. We'll just add some little stuff to that, right? And this guy's also kind of coming out. Okay, I'm going to just kind of add the, I don't know what they call that part of the flower. Just really trying to use the negative shape to help, I'm going to add a flower to that. Now it doesn't have to match the picture exactly, but it just gives me the idea. So look at what I'm going to do in here now. I'm going to zoom in so you can see as I'm working on this. So I'm just going to kind of through here and add tone around this flower. And so that leaves that negative space, and now I can come in here and just get that to read. You see? And I don't want to go into it anymore. I want to give it, give it its own space there. And as you darken up the area around it, you could create more contrast, and actually without even trying, you can make it brighter. So there's a little something for you that if you want to make something brighter, sometimes what's required is simply to tone down or darken the area around it. Okay. some of these little objects, some of these little flowers are like this, and I'm just pushing down underneath to give them a little bit of value and surface. All right. Let's go ahead and work on these rocks now. All right. So I'm going to come in here and when I work with rocks, I like to try and get the outside edge, and then I like to drop in a tone on the side that they're in shadow, and then I'll come back in and add some detail. All right, so let's do that. So let's come in here and think of overlap. Let's see now. There's a rock coming in over here. Look, there's one up there. All right. All right, this one's in tone over here because the light's not getting in on that side, so we want to drop tone down back here. This rock in the back is so much more darker than the one in front there. Okay, even over here. All right, now I want to come in here and just start using some surface lines. It's easy. It is easy to get lost in the details. You know, when you're drawing sometimes. It's like, oh, how do I communicate the texture of this rock? And then all of a sudden you stop and you think, oh my gosh, I'm so way off. But you know, that's okay. So you just have to keep plugging along there. Now, this, like, if you have a certain area of your rock that you want to be brighter, like I just said, come back in and add a tone around it. That will help to pop it off just a bit. Following the surface. One thing I'm doing when I'm leaning back in my chair, I'm looking at my picture, and this is where I'm starting to make some decisions, like what is it that I want to pop off. So I definitely want all this growth to leap forward. So I want to make sure that's a darker value than that rock. And right now it's blending in. So I'm just going to come in here and add more tone to it. continuing across the surface there. All right, let's come up here and grab the slope of this grass, and I'm going to squint my eyes, and this is a very even tone, I think. And then just beyond it, we get into this very rocky area that has a lot of contrast. Always looking for variation. I think that's the hardest thing to do, is to try and draw without creating patterns. Your brain is constantly trying to create patterns. Okay, I'm squinting, and I think my ocean, I'm going to make my ocean a little bit darker. But one thing I did notice just now as I'm looking at it, look at the angle. Look at the angle of these waves. You see that? So I definitely want to try and pick that idea up. Trying to keep nice even tone in this ocean below. And then look right here at this ocean. Look how white that is compared to the water. So that's something I definitely want. If I could bring that out, let's see if we can do it. So all this really is a value change in the water. So let's kind of work it in a little bit. Okay, look at that. Now I can also see that the value change of the water compared to the rocks, my water should be darker. So that's something else I want to try and create. And then there's a slight reflection in the water of this mountain that's back here. So also kind of play that in as well. See, the thing is this is why drawing is so important, is that it forces you to really deal with value. And when you really master like the value, it makes painting so much more easier, because all color is just, every color has a value to it. And when you put the right value, it works. The painting works. But when you think you have the right color but the wrong value, then things start falling apart. It's more important to have the right value versus the right color when you're painting, or the right hue if you want to get technical there. Okay, I'm going to tone this whole right side down just a bit. Because I want my eye to go toward the left. Your eye will always go to where the light is. Well, John, we have a very serious group here. Very serious. Everyone's really focused on their drawing today. Okay, so look at this. My cliffs in the back now are about the same value of the ocean. So I'm going to want to tone them back. I want to add a darker value to help them pop off the back. All right, I think that's going to do it for today. Listen, I really appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. John, thanks for chiming in and wishing me happy Monday. If you are, like I said at the beginning, if you're looking for a great community of fellow artists, jump down there and hit that link to our Facebook group. Join us there. Post your work. I always love to see how you did. And that's what I got. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this has been our Monday afternoon live draw. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time, okay? All right, go make your day great. Bye-bye.